The sky of Exus 7 burned a perpetual violet, streaked with crimson lightning that lashed across the horizon like a warning. The air smelled of ionized metal and a faint sweetness that clung to the jagged rock formations jutting from the ground. On this alien frontier, survival wasn't guaranteed, not even for the humans who had dared to colonize the fringe. Cale Arden crouched behind a jagged outcropping, the barrel of his plasma rifle pressed against his shoulder. His pulse hammered against his ribcage as he scanned the valley below. The settlement, such as it was, lay in twisted metal and shattered shields. Alien structures spiraled toward the sky like blackened coral, their surfaces shimmering with an iridescent blue that pulsed as if alive. A whisper hissed. He twisted, seeing Mira, barely 12, gripping a small satchel against her chest. Her wide eyes reflected the purple storm overhead. "Quiet," Cale warned. "If they hear us," a low growl interrupted him, not from any creature he had seen in the valley, but from the automated sentry patrolling the path ahead. A guard dog of chrome and sinew, designed for obedience and lethal force. Its optics glowed red as it sniffed the air, scanning for intruders. Cale's stomach clenched. Crossing its path meant instant death. Myra swallowed hard. "Mama, she's still on the ship," she whispered, as though saying it louder might make the world forget. Cale felt the weight of her words like gravity pressing on his chest. Their mother's evacuation pod had been scheduled to depart hours ago. But the chaos of the Vexus 7 rebellion had delayed everything. Cale had seen the alien raiders descend on their convoy, clawed through the wreckage to find their mother, and now she was alone aboard the ship, trapped behind layers of alien security. He crouched lower. "We'll get her," he said, his voice firmer than he felt. "But first, we get past that thing." The guard dog's sensors swept in a rhythmic pulse, scanning for thermal signatures, movement, and sound. Cale counted the beats. Between pulses, there was a brief windwall moment to move without triggering its sensors. His eyes flicked to the jagged rocks, forming a precarious bridge across a shallow chasm. Risky, but it might be the only way. "Ready?" he whispered. Mira nodded. Cale timed his movement. 1, 2, 3, and they sprinted. The metallic growl shifted to a staccato alarm as the dog's sensors flickered, just missing their movement. The rocks trembled beneath their feet, and Cale's heart thudded in his throat. Halfway across, a pulse caught him. He felt the dog's awareness brush past like a phantom hand. He tumbled, scraping his palms against the jagged stone. But Mira grabbed his arm, pulling him upright. They made it to the far side, breath ragged, lungs burning. Cale looked back. The dog halted at the edge of the chasm, tilting its head as though calculating whether to leap. Its growl softened to a low whine before it turned and trotted away, obeying some invisible command only its masters understood. Cale exhaled, wiping blood from his hands. "Step 1. Done," he muttered. Mira's eyes were wide with both fear and hope. "Step 2. Cale glanced at the horizon. The ship hung in orbit, its hull scarred by the recent skirmish, lights flickering as if winking in warning. They would need Alizor, at least a distraction, to reach it. And Calais knew the locals weren't going to let humans stroll through their territory unchallenged. Above, the violet storm deepened, and a metallic shriek split the air, something descending fast, something bigger than the guard dog. Cale raised his rifle instinctively, teeth clenched. Mira gasped. "Cale, it's coming for us." He didn't reply. He just held the weapon tight, heart thundering, mind racing. Somewhere up there, their mother was waiting, and whatever was hurtling toward them, it wouldn't care. The first strike was moments away. The metallic screech had ceased as abruptly as it had begun. Cale's pulse hammered against his temples as he scanned the violet-hued landscape. Nothing. Only jagged rocks and the distant shimmer of the settlement below. Myra whispered, tugging at his sleeve. Her small hand trembled. He didn't answer immediately. Something about the air felt wrong. The faint sweetness had thickened, like syrup clinging to his throat. And then he saw them slender figures, almost impossibly tall, their limbs bending at strange angles. Their skin glimmered like liquid chrome, reflecting the stormy sky. 6 of them had emerged from the rocks, moving silently, watching Cale crouched lower, weapon raised. "Aliens," he muttered. "Not like anything we've seen," Mira said, her voice barely audible. "Are they?" "Friendly." Kale didn't answer. He didn't know. His training told him to assume hostility until proven otherwise. The beings stepped closer, their movements fluid, almost liquid. Their faces, or what passed for faces, had no eyes, no mouths, just smooth panels that rippled with iridescent patterns. Yet Kale felt them looking at him, probing. One of the figures lifted a limb, pointing toward the distant ruins of the settlement. Kale hesitated. A warning? A guide? The figure repeated the gesture, more insistently. Myra's curiosity overcame her fear. "They want us to go there," she whispered. Kale's instincts screamed caution, but then he remembered their mother, trapped on the ship. Time was running out. "Okay," he said, lowering his rifle slightly. "Let's see where they lead." The beings moved with eerie grace, leading them through narrow crevices and across jagged plateaus. Kale's boots crunched against alien minerals, leaving faint glowing prints that vanished within seconds. Mira clung to his side, whispering questions Kale couldn't answer. Eventually, they arrived at a cavern, its entrance flanked by enormous crystal formations that hummed softly, vibrating with an energy Kale could feel in his bones. The interior was vast, a cathedral of glowing minerals and strange bioluminescent plants. In the center floated a translucent pool, shimmering with an inner light that seemed to react to their presence. One of the aliens moved to the pool, extending a limb. The water rippled, images forming on its surface. The ship, their mother, inside, struggling against restraints. Alarm systems blared. Kale's chest tightened. "They know," he whispered. Mira's hand found his arm. "Do they understand us?" Kale shook his head. "Maybe, maybe not, but they just showed us where she is." The largest of the aliens then shifted closer. A low vibration emitted from its body, a sound Kale felt more than heard. Words, no but comprehension. He realized the beings were communicating in a way beyond speech. Intent, meaning, warning. Kale took a step forward. "We need to get her down. Can you help?" The alien paused, then extended to limbs, touching Kale and Mira gently. Warmth surged through him, a tingling clarity. Suddenly, he understood not everything but enough. The aliens weren't just observing. They could assist if they wanted to. And then the cavern trembled. Rocks cracked overhead. From the shadows beyond the crystal pool, not one, but a pack of them, moving with predatory precision. Their red optics glowed like molten coals, scanning, hunting. Kale's pulse skyrocketed. "They're coming, get ready." Myra clutched his arm. "What do we do?" Kale looked at the aliens, whose smooth chrome forms seemed suddenly tense, vibrating faster, almost agitated. He realized the creatures were capable of defense, but would they fight for humans? For him, for her? He tightened his grip on his rifle. We find out, the hard way. The first of the mechanical predators lunged, their claws slicing through the glowing air with a shriek. Kale fired, energy bolts scorching the cavern walls. Myra ducked, screams echoing off crystalline formations. The aliens surged, moving in strange, elegant patterns that disrupted the predator's sensors. Kale's breath caught these creatures were more than allies. They were weapons, but there were too many. And the ship, their mother, time was slipping away. Kale gritted his teeth. "We're not leaving without her." A predatory screech sounded closer now. One of the mechanical hunters leaped directly at Myra. Ko dived, grabbing her in midair as the hunter slammed into the crystal pool, shattering part of its surface. Water and light splashed over them both. Casting Kale in a blinding shimmer, he rolled to his feet. The aliens formed a defensive ring, ready to strike, but the hunters weren't backing down. Kale whispered to himself, teeth clenched. "If we die here, Mama dies too." Then the largest alien turned, extending its glowing limb toward a narrow tunnel leading upward. A single gesture, a silent order, escape route. Kale met Myra's gaze. "Move now." They ran, shadows twisting around them, the sound of mechanical claws and metallic growls echoing in their ears. And somewhere above, the ship waited, just out of reach. The tunnel smelled of ozone and wet stone, each step echoing like a drumbeat in the cavern. Kale's boots slipped against slick mineral surfaces, Mira clinging tightly to his side. Behind them, the metallic predators clawed at the crystalline walls, sparks scattering in all directions. Kale, Mira gasped. They're still coming. He gritted his teeth, scanning the narrow passage. Keep moving. Don't stop. At the tunnel's end, the aliens halted, their chrome forms shimmering in the bioluminescent light. One extended a limb toward a small oval hatch set into the cavern wall. It opened silently, revealing a passage that smelled faintly of ozone and metallic pollen. The aliens gestured for them to enter. Kale glanced at Mira. We don't have a choice. Inside, the passage twisted downward, opening into a chamber unlike anything Kale had ever seen. The walls were a live fluid, as if the rock itself breathed. Streams of glowing liquid pulsed along the surfaces, casting shifting reflections across the chamber. Figures moved within the walls, faceless silhouettes that appeared and vanished like smoke. What is this place? Mira whispered, eyes wide. Kale had no answer. He felt the pulse of the chamber resonate through his bones, a strange rhythm that made his head spin. But they weren't alone. The aliens followed, moving in perfect synchronization, guiding them deeper. Finally, they reached a large platform, suspended over a pool of luminescent liquid. At its center floated a structure resembling a hive of glass and chrome. Kale's eyes widened. Inside, humans captured, restrained, moved like marionettes, their eyes reflecting both fear and confusion. A voice, neither male nor female, but layered with harmonics, filled the chamber. Visitors, you survive. But why? Kale froze. The voice emanated from the largest alien, its form glowing brighter than before. He realized it was communicating not just through movement or vibration, but through thought, direct understanding. We're not here to fight, Kale said carefully. We're looking for our mother. She's on the ship above. A ripple passed through the alien. The other humans in the chamber murmured, some turning toward him with recognition. One man's voice cracked, human. Survivors. Kale nodded. Yes, but we can't waste time. Our mother is trapped, and the ship is still in orbit. We need to reach her. The alien hesitated, then extended a limb, touching the liquid pool. Images flashed before Kale's eyeships descending, patrols moving, weapons armed. The ship was heavily guarded, more so than Cal had realized. The alien's mental projection revealed a complex society, a system of law and hierarchy far beyond anything humans had faced on the frontier. You cannot simply walk aboard, the voice said. This is not your world, not yet. You must integrate, learn. Prove your intent. Kale's jaw tightened. Integrate, you mean? We have to live among you first. The alien's form shimmered. Or be denied. You cannot reach your mother otherwise. Mira's small hand gripped his sleeve. Kale, we don't have time. I know, he said, swallowing hard, but we'll have to play their game. They were led into a series of chambers, each filled with alien tools, glowing liquid conduits, and pools of pulsating energy. Kale began to understand. The aliens didn't just live here. They existed in constant symbiosis with their environment. Thoughts and actions were intertwined with the pulses of energy, and the humans they had captured seemed connected. We'll need to learn. Kale muttered to Mira. How they see the world, how they think. Otherwise, we'll never reach Mama. Mira frowned. But what if they don't want to help us? Kale's eyes hardened. Then we'll find another way. But first, we survive their world. The largest alien raised its limb, pointing toward a passageway lined with faintly glowing glyphs. Trial begins. The harmonic voice resonated. Prove your mind. Prove your will. Or remain beneath the surface. Kale glanced at Myra. Ready? She swallowed, gripping his hand. As ready as I'll ever be. Kale took a deep breath. The walls seemed to pulse around him, alive, watching, waiting. In that moment, he realized the alien world was more than a barrier, was a test, a prison, and the ship and their mother waited above. Unreachable until they mastered it. A low vibration shook the chamber, and the glyphs flared. From the shadows, movement flickered to their humans, some trying to resist, some already broken. The challenge had begun. Kale tightened his grip on Mira's hand. We don't fail. Not here. Not now. And somewhere above, the ship's engines hummed, counting down the hours. The glyphs on the walls pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to echo inside Kale's skull. He and Myra stepped forward, guided by the largest alien, whose luminous form shifted like liquid metal. Every step felt heavy, as though the chamber itself was resisting them. Keep your focus, Kale muttered, his voice low. Watch the patterns. Don't let the chamber control you. Mira nodded, though her fingers trembled. They had already endured the first testologic puzzles that twisted around perception, gravitational shifts that bent the body and mind, and streams of thought projections from the aliens that threatened to unravel them. Kale had learned to synchronize with the pulse of the chamber, to anticipate its rhythm, but the strain was immense. Finally, they arrived at a raised platform, the centerpiece of the alien hive, a crystalline console that hummed with energy, showing the orbiting ship in detailed holographic projection. Relief surged in Kale's chest. Their mother was there, alive, but a layer of force fields and alien defenses had surrounded her pod. Any misstep, and she would be unreachable. Kale reached toward the console butt before he could touch it. A sharp voice cut through the chamber. "Don't!" he spun. A figure stepped from the shadows, a human, one of the ones they had seen restrained earlier. It was Draven, a man Kale had trusted in the early days of the frontier settlement, now standing with an unsettling calm. Kale demanded, "You're supposed to be helping us." "I am helping myself," Draven said coldly, eyes glinting. The aliens offered a choice, survival or loyalty. "I chose survival," Mira gasped. "You're betraying us." Draven's smile was thin and merciless. "Not betraying, just making the smart choice. Your mother's fate doesn't change the fact that we humans are expendable here. The aliens will remember loyalty or the lack of it." Kale's fists clenched. "You won't stop us. Not while I'm breathing." Draven laughed softly, a sound that echoed in the crystalline chamber. "Then you're reckless. I hope you enjoy failure." Before Kale could react, Draven pressed his hand to the console. A cascade of energy surged outward, knocking Kale and Mira off their feet. The holographic projection of the ship flickered violently. Kale scrambled up, shielding Myra as the alien forms flared around him. The largest one emitted a sharp, harmonic pulse, stabilizing the chamber, but the ship above had shifted. Additional barriers, both physical and energy-based, had been activated. Kale roared. "You don't understand, we need her now." Draven's expression softened, almost pitying. "I do understand. That's exactly why I can't let you succeed. The ship is dangerous, not just for humans. The aliens, your precious guardians, have protocols that will destroy anything that tries to interfere." Kale froze. Something in Draven's words didn't settle. "Dangerous? What do you mean?" Draven's gaze held a cruel satisfaction. "Your mother's ship isn't just an evacuation vessel. It's a weapon, a failsafe. The aliens built it to eliminate human interference in case their rules were broken. And you're breaking them." Mira's hand went cold in Kale's grip. "Mama," she whispered, voice trembling. Kale stared at the hologram, the reality dawning like acid in his chest. Their mother hadn't just been trapped, she was potentially sitting on a weapon, designed to annihilate anyone who threatened the alien system, including humans. The largest alien's limbs glimmered, vibrating in sharp pulses, as if aware of the treachery unfolding. Kale realized the challenge had never been about the chamber or the trials, it had been about trust. The aliens were testing their judgment, their discipline, their ability to survive morally, not just physically. Draven moved closer, the red glow of the console reflecting in his eyes. "I suggest you reconsider. You can still save yourselves." Kale's teeth ground together. Betrayal had cut deeper than any mechanical claw or alien pulse. Their path had just become impossible, a maze of danger, loyalty, and devastating choices. He grabbed Mira's hand. "We fight, whatever it takes." But as they prepared to move, the chamber shook violently. A deep rumble came from above, a resonance that could only mean one thing. The ship was initiating its defense protocol. Kale's heart froze. Every second they delayed could cost their mother and, maybe all of them. And then, from the shadows, the alien who had guided them stepped closer, limbs flaring with iridescent light, as if deciding to intervene. Kale glanced at Mira. This is it. No turning back. The ground beneath them cracked, and a brilliant pulse of energy shot through the chamber, threatening to swallow them whole. The chamber shuddered violently, crystalline walls rattling like the bones of some ancient beast. Kale threw himself over Mira, shielding her as shards of glowing rock rained down. Sparks from the console arced wildly, crackling in the thick, ion-charged air. The ship above groaned, thrusters firing erratically. Warning lights flashing across its hull. They're activating the Kale shouted over the roar. The ship's defenses, it'll fry anyone in proximity. Mira clung to him, wide-eyed. Mama! She screamed. We're too late. Kale's stomach churned. The Truth Draven had revealed the ship as a weapon loomed over them like a storm cloud. Even if they reached it, even if the aliens helped, every second brought catastrophic risk. One misstep, and they would lose not just their mother, but the fragile foothold humanity had on Vexus 7. Draven appeared at the chamber's edge, his silhouette framed by the pulsing glyphs. I warned you. Stop now, or die with the rest of your species, he said, his voice cold, absolute. Kale glared at him. We're not stopping. Draven's smile widened. Without warning, he pressed a panel on the floor. A wave of energy shot through the chamber, slamming Kale and Mira into the wall. Pain flared through Kale's ribs, and the world spun. Mira let out a terrified cry as part of the platform collapsed beneath them. Leaving them dangling above the glowing pool of energy, the aliens surged, limbs glowing with intense light, trying to stabilize the platform. But even their power had limits. The crystalline floor fractured further. Kale looked down. The liquid below seemed almost alive, rippling with pulses of danger. A single misstep and they would fall straight into it. We can't, Kale began, but Mira grabbed his face. We have to, she shouted, fierce despite her fear. We have to save Mama. Kale swallowed, nodding. Together, they lunged toward the nearest stable platform, their momentum barely enough. Sparks hissed around them as the alien hive reacted violently to the disturbance. Kale felt the energy surge into his boots, almost lifting him, but it wasn't enough. The chamber trembled again, a deeper, more violent quake that split part of the ceiling. Kale barely managed to shield Mira from falling debris. When the dust settled, he realized with horror the projection of the ship had shifted again. Stronger barriers, automated defense drones, and strange alien wards now surrounded it. Even if they survived this chamber, the ship might already be unreachable. Draven's laughter echoed, triumphant. See? I told you. You cannot win. You cannot protect her. Humanity is fragile. Kale, fragile and predictable. Kale's heart pounded. Fragile. Maybe, he muttered, grit and fury coiling inside him. But we don't give up. Not now. Not ever. Myra's small hand found his... Then what do we do? Kale looked at the aliens, who were forming defensive rings around the platform's edge. Their pulses synchronized, almost protective. The realization hit him. If the aliens chose to help, they could turn the tide, but it would require absolute trust. We have to trust them, Kale said, voice tight with resolve. They've guided us this far. Maybe they'll guide us further. But even as he spoke, another tremor shook the chamber. Crystals cracked and fell, and a massive shard slammed into the console. Sparks erupted, and the projection of the ship fragmented. Kale saw it clearly for the first time. The ship's automated defenses were preparing to launch something missiles, energy fields, or worse. He had no idea what Mira clung to him. Kale, we're too late. Kale shook his head. Not if we move. Now, if we survive this chamber, we get another chance, and we will not waste it. The aliens emitted a harmonic pulse, a low resonance that seemed to steady the crumbling floor beneath them. Kale felt the energy pulse through his body, a strange rhythm of hope threading through the chaos. But even as relief surged, he knew the next step would be worse. Beyond this chamber, the path to the ship hand, to their mother, was still blocked by the ship's defenses and the unknown fury of the aliens' protocol. Every second counted. Every misstep could be their last. Kale clenched his fists, glaring at the fractured projection. We survive, he said, more to himself than anyone. No matter what comes next, we survive. And somewhere above, the ship waited, its engines glowing ominously, a countdown ticking toward the edge of disaster. The chamber's tremors had subsided, leaving a heavy silence punctuated by the faint hum of alien energy. Kale sat on a fractured crystal ledge, cradling Mira, who still trembled from the near fall. Every fiber of his body ached, but he couldn't let despair take hold. Not now. From the shadows emerged one of the aliens who had guided them from the start. Its form shimmered, limbs glowing a pale blue. Kale watched, wary. Trust had become a dangerous commodity. You, Kale started. You're helping us. The alien's limbs extended, and a harmonic pulse reverberated through the chamber. Unlike before, this one carried a sharp urgency, a command to focus, a promise of aid. Kale understood, almost instinctively, the alien was offering a partnership. Mira blinked. They want to help. Kale nodded slowly. Yes, but we'll need to do exactly as they say. The alien led them to a narrow passage where dozens of restrained humans waited. Some had resigned to their fate. Others stared at Kale and Myra with a glimmer of hope. One of them, an older engineer named Tarek, muttered under his breath, "You made it. You have to lead us now." Kale's jaw tightened. "We'll lead together," he said, "but first we get Mama." The alien stopped at a complex junction, its form vibrating in precise pulses. Kale realized the chamber was alive in ways he hadn't fully comprehended. Walls, the floor, even the air itself responded to thought and intent. The alien communicated the plan, a synchronized strike, using the chamber's energy pulses to disrupt Draven's control over the defense systems, allowing them to reach the ship without triggering the failsafe. Kale's heart pounded. The plan was dangerous, almost suicidal, but it was the only option. "Everyone, listen," he said to the humans. "We follow the alien's lead. Timing has to be perfect. One mistake, and the ship could kill all of us." Tarek nodded grimly. "We've survived worse. Let's move." As they advanced, Kale noticed subtle shifts in the alien hive. Energy conduits pulsed brighter, walls rippled, and the liquid streams hummed in resonance with the alien's movements. It was as if the entire chamber recognized their intent and began to respond in kind. Then came the first real test, a corridor lined with pulsating energy fields. Any misstep, and they'd be electrocuted or disintegrated. Kale led the humans, in a careful rhythm, stepping in perfect synchronization with the alien's pulse. Mira clung to him, mirroring every move. Halfway through, Draven appeared, flanked by mechanical sentries. His eyes gleamed with malice. "I warned you," he hissed. "You're walking into death." Kale didn't hesitate. "Then we die trying." The aliens surged, their forms stretching and vibrating with blinding intensity. Energy arcs from the walls struck Draven's sentries, sending sparks and smoke into the corridor. Kale took the opportunity, moving Mira and the humans through the pulse fields, their hearts racing. Tarek shouted, where almost a pulse of energy knocked Kale to the floor, and Draven lunged toward Mira. Instinct took over. Kale rolled, grabbing a fragment of crystal and hurling it at Draven's shoulder. The alien's harmonic pulse synchronized with the impact, stunning Draven long enough for Kale to drag Mira past him. Beyond the corridor, the chamber opened to a vast vertical shaft. Kale's stomach dropped. This was the final climb to the ship above, the ultimate test of timing, courage, and endurance. The aliens' limbs extended toward them, rippling energy along the walls that formed a bridge of light. "Hold on!" Kale shouted to the humans. "We make it together, or we fall together." Step by step, they climbed the shimmering bridge. Sparks danced in the air, the hum of the chamber rising to a deafening crescendo. Mira's grip on Kale never faltered, her trust absolute. At the top, they paused on a narrow ledge overlooking the orbiting ship. It gleamed in the violet sky, engines glowing, the barriers around the mother's pod pulsating like a heartbeat. The realization hit Kale. This was their final chance. The alien ally had delivered them here, but the defenses of the ship were still alive and Draven. Draven was still coming. Kale's hand found Mira's. "No more running," he said, teeth clenched. "We take her back. We win. We survive." From the shadows, the alien extended its pulse one last time, flaring with radiant light that bathed the humans in power, clarity, and courage. Kale felt strength surge through his body, as if the chamber itself had decided they were worthy. And above, the ship waited, its defenses active, its secrets deadly, its mother trapped. Kale inhaled sharply. "Let's finish this." The bridge of light pulsed beneath Kale's boots, the alien's harmonic energy guiding every step as they approached the orbiting ship. Myra's fingers were entwined with his, her eyes wide but fierce. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown. Every breath carried the weight of their mother's life. Above them, the ship's hull shimmered with defensive barriers, energy fields dancing like lightning. Automated sentries hovered around the pod containing their mother, moving with cold precision. The violet sky of Vexa 7 stretched infinitely around them. Swirling with storms and streaks of alien lightning, Draven emerged from a shadowed crevice of the chamber, mechanical claws snapping as his red optics glowed. "It ends here," he snarled. "Your mother dies if you step closer." Kale raised his plasma rifle. "Not if we reach her first." The alien's pulse surged, strengthening the bridge and shielding the humans. Kale took the lead, Myra beside him, Tarek and the others following. They advanced in perfect rhythm, every movement synchronized with the alien's guidance. The first wave of sentries fired, energy bolts sizzling toward them. Kale dove, rolling, and returned fire, each shot precise, cutting through the defenses while keeping Myra safe. Tarek manipulated the alien-conducted energy, creating temporary shields that deflected incoming fire. The humans moved as one, a single unit of will, courage, and instinct. Draven leaped, claws aimed at Myra. Kale intercepted him, fists smashing against metal sinew. Sparks flew, the smell of ozone and burning circuits filling the air. With a final surge, Kale shoved Draven into the alien energy field, electrocuting the traitor until he fell limp. Kale glanced at the pod. Their mother was strapped inside, eyes wide but alive, struggling against restraints that pulsed with alien energy. The barriers around her shimmered, reacting violently to any interference. Kale felt the alien pulse guiding him, sending confidence, clarity, and precise instruction. "Step forward," Kale muttered, heart racing. He placed his hands on the nearest control panel. The alien's pulse flowed into him, and suddenly the ship's defenses felt almost tangible. He understood their rhythm, their timing. The barriers weren't invincible. Just intelligent. One measured movement, one synchronized pulse, and the energy walls flickered. Kale adjusted breath steady despite the chaos. With a final surge of effort, the barriers collapsed. Allowing him to access the pod controls, Mira's small hands flew to the restraints, fingers flying over the alien interface. With a click, the straps released. Their mother slumped forward, exhausted but alive. "Kale." "Mira," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. You came for me." "We never stopped," Kale said, emotion cracking his voice. Not for a second, but the victory was fleeting. Alarms blared as the ship's systems detected the intrusion. Automated turrets and defense drones swarmed, weapons firing in every direction. The alien pulse surged, wrapping around Kale and the humans like a shield, guiding their movements. Kale pulled his mother to him. "We move now." They sprinted across the bridge, dodging lasers, energy blasts, and shards of crystal that had dislodged from the alien hive below. Mira's small form darted ahead, guiding the group with uncanny instinct. The aliens flared around them, a living wave of energy repelling attackers just long enough for the humans to reach the ship's shuttle bay. Kale slammed open the hatch. The shuttle hummed, engines warming. Inside, he helped their mother into the pilot seat. Mira scrambled beside her. Kale shouted, covering them as the last of the sentries surged forward. The alien pulse expanded, striking the remaining defenses. Shards of energy collided with metal, explosions rippling across the hull. Kale's lungs burned, muscles screamed, but he didn't stop. Finally, the shuttle lifted off, engines roaring. Below, the alien hive pulsed in brilliant light, then receded into shadow, leaving Kale and the others staring at the stars. Their mother's hands shook on the controls, voice trembling. "You saved me." Kale smiled, exhausted but triumphant. "We saved each other." Mira leaned against him, whispering, "We did it. We're all together." The violet sky of Vexa 7 stretched endless and wild beneath them. Above, the ship's energy flares dimmed, barriers collapsed, and the echoes of betrayal and danger faded. Humanity had survived, not just by strength, but by courage, trust, and the stubborn refusal to surrender. Kale looked out at the stars, heart full of both relief and awe. "This isn't just survival," he murmured. "This is humanity proving it belongs among the stars." And somewhere, deep in the alien hive, the pulses dimmed and shifted, as if acknowledging a new understanding. Humanity had triumphed where others would have failed.